I think leadership is doing things that are uncomfortable to do. You know, it's easy to go along and get along. It's harder to actually move the ball. And I'll give an example. The reason I ran for the State House in the first place was I was doing the accounting. I'm an accountant. I was doing the books for my parents' small business, and I was complaining to my mom about how hard it was to make a dollar and how easy it was for government to take it. And she said, don't complain about it, do something about it. So ignorance is bliss. I did not know you weren't supposed to run against a 30-year incumbent in a primary. But the only option at that point was to win. And so the people of Lexington County gave me that chance. I ended up winning. And my argument was, this is no disrespect to the incumbent, but I think they have way too many lawyers at the State House, and I think they need a really good accountant. So when I got there, my focus really was on helping small business. And after a couple of years of being there, you know, in South Carolina, everything was voted on by a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. That's typically how the majority of things went. Well, on one day, they ended up passing legislation that would give legislators a pay raise. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, silence. The ayes have it, yet to this day you can't find any legislators that said they voted themselves a pay raise. Now, we had a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican governor. And I remember going to my speaker saying, this is why people don't trust us. And the next day I filed a piece of legislation that said anything important enough to be debated on the floor of the House or the Senate is important enough for people to know how their legislators voted. The speaker said, put the bill away. We don't need to have it. We will decide what the people need to see and what they don't. And I remember going home to my husband saying, if I can't get votes on the record, what am I doing? And he said, then fight. So I went around the state of South Carolina and said, did you know of all the bills passed in the House, only 8% were on the record? Did you know of all the bills passed in the Senate, only 1% was on the record? So if you didn't know how your House members voted 92% of the time, if you didn't know how your senators voted 99% of the time, how did you know who to vote for at the polls? And the people of South Carolina were shocked. Now, to put this into perspective, my first year in office, I was chairman of the freshman class. My second year, I was majority whip. My third year, I was on a powerful business committee. My fourth year, I was subcommittee chair of banking. The year that I wouldn't put that bill away, they stripped me of everything. I could take the well, no one would hear me speak. I could sponsor a bill, no one would co-sponsor. So I ran for governor. And I'm proud to say that one of the first bills we signed into law when I was governor is now in South Carolina. Everything debated on the floor of the House or the Senate has to have a legislative vote on the record, and we took it a step further and did it on every section of the budget. And when I signed it in the middle of the State House with Pat Benatar's "Hit Me With Your Best Shot" blaring over the screen.
Oh, that's great.
I say that because leadership, a lot of times, leadership is doing what's uncomfortable, but doing it because you know it's right. And I think that's a lot of what it's meant for me.